All right, y'all, we are back at it with Artivist Talk number 3. I am honored to be working with an amazing educator, a lot. It's my man BS, the legendary. We are out here, and I appreciate this man for so much. We are getting it in. He's about to join in a minute. I am just getting it started right now, adjusting some lighting. Shout out to Lex Rush. I'm going to do a little bit of a freestyle because, putting the art in artivism, getting this thing ready. So as BS gets ready, if y'all want to bust a word in the chat or let it be known, I'm going to bust out a little freestyle till BS gets ready. Lex Rush got the hands up emojis. That's a yes. Yeah, you know me. Smiley face been a yellow, sort of like the sticker. That's how we do. We always getting bigger. Go figure. Life is like an elixir. Artivism, how to really do it, made my decision to break down light like prisms. I break it down when you see it is. I just hold it down and need it is. Woo! I guess my dude's having a little trouble joining. Let me do this every day when I could go it open. I've been living in this life lit is broken. I'm shouting out to my dude. We just open. Maybe I gotta see if I added him as a friend. Maybe that's a moment when I could get him in his zen. And I'm just looking for my man Trust BS. We hold this and we just get it down. We yes. I'm gonna try to send the invite again. That's how we do when we go in a wind. We ought to see it and we move in time. I'm always living my life. It's no defined. Artivism is activating your organism to its highest potential. Woo, there's my dude.
Let's go.
Let's go, my brother. Thank you again, bro. Like, you are actually one of the reasons this series got started. You
Get
just wrote
out.
something about artists and burnout, and I was like, bro, we need to have this combo. And, me and you, we normally just have our combos, you and me, at my spot, at your spot, wherever we're at, the world spot. But I was like, man, some of these gems and jewels that get reserved for one-on-one communication could provide value. So, we just went in there and then just thank you, brother. You're the number 3. I know Pisces season is coming up, so Water
Hey.
Gang in the building. But yeah, I gave a little introduction on who you are. I love your words that you use on your profile as a word worker. And I know you through many incarnations, from one of the dopest MCs to rock the live stages. He's a musician in my book, an amazing blader, an artivist in the true essence of facilitator, the founder of Freestyle Fitness, the founder of the Props Game Show. Like, this guy does a lot of work, man. And also why I consider this dude a huge artivist is he uses his art to impact others. This guy will be out in the middle of the park getting freestyle games going in back and forth. And I've seen so many actors, artists, other MCs, rappers just find more light in themselves due to the fuel that you throw on them, my brother. But more than all of that, I consider you a friend and a hermano, man. We go in here over 10, 15 years strong. So the fact that you're still doing it is a testament to you. But of course, please describe yourself in the way that you choose, and then we'll start this organically.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I love and appreciate you, man. I really appreciate this space to be able to build like this. And you're right. A lot of times this does happen just one-on-one, and I really appreciate the opportunity to help expand the conversation and invite more people into it. So shout out to the folks watching.
Yes, yes.
Um, so we had LJ in here, we had Alan in here.
Yeah,
Oh shit, we got Armani in here, we got Lex in
yeah. We
here.
got
Let's
Lex
go.
Rush in the
Let's
building, Queen's
go.
finest.
Let's go. Thanks, y'all. So, my name is BS, the only BS you can trust. And, a lot of people are just like, BS, what's that stand for? And, well, in 2024, BS stands for turning best self into better self, even if it just looks like BS to anybody
Mm.
else. To
Ooh.
anybody else. So, man, if it's got to do with words, I probably do it. I've been out here trying to like expand just the scope and like the number of people I get to build with, whether that's just hang out and rap or facilitating some sort of experience, whether that be for an individual, a group of folks, a team, a corporate entity, any of that. I'm here and I'm about it. But first off, I guess first off, I'm just a rapping ass motherfucker, you know.
The foundation. Never forget that.
Rapping
Shout out to
ass
our RARs,
motherfucker.
the rapping ass rappers. Ah, let's get the lions roar in there. Ah, woo! And the beatboxer. How did I forget? One of the dopest.
Hey.
BS, man, because we have such a deep lineage. I do want to start at the roots, man. You know, I always found it amazing because the thing I got into was blading before I got into the bars. And you know,
Yes.
when I let that kind of spizzle, I was like, the next thing I get into, I got to do forever. And thankfully, it was music, and I'm still here, right? Talk about your journey, man. Just as a person, as a
Hmm.
creative, I know the sports and coming up in that blading world was something big to you. But how did you tie all these things together, from your facilitation, the educating, the beatboxing, the emceeing? You know, you're a very multifaceted dude, you know?
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. What's up, Andrea? We got Deutschland
Yeah.
in the stream.
Ah.
Yo, I guess for me, it really started. I don't think I've ever left the skate park mentally
Mm.
and spiritually. I don't think I ever left, you know? And in the skate park, you learn really quickly that, like, you fall, you get back up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go again, you try again, you keep going again, you know?
Mm.
Let me tell you a quick story. Let me see if I can do this in four
Do it.
sentences. But
Do it. Do it. Take your time.
a young me. Oh shit, my mom's up in here. What's up, mom? Um, I was a young BS, you know, and still kind of figuring out how to skate. And I was at this skate park called Boards and Blades. And this is in the early 2000s when like skateboarders and bladers did not get along. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like there was just a whole lot of unnecessary childish beef for no reason. And I was trying this like ramp to ramp, like kind of gap thing, and I ate it
Woo.
so hard. I ate it so hard. And I thought I was done, bro. Like I just, I'm shook, like completely shook. Like I thought I felt my soul leave my body. I thought I was done, and I'm debating whether or not I go back. You know, do I try it again? And this was like a very like pivotal fork in the road. And I had like the gnarliest skateboard dude, bearded, covered in tattoos. It was kind of funny. I look at myself now, and I think in some ways, like
Mm.
I may
It
have
was
tweaked
you
it.
from the future
Uh,
on a skateboard that came to you.
Yo, but he's like the fastest dude in the park, cuts people off. Like he's just raw. Like his whole
Okay.
vibe is just raw, and he just pops up. You okay? I was like, I don't know. I think so. It was gonna be, can you walk? I was like, yeah. He was all right. You can walk. All right, good. If you're not falling, you're not learning. Bang, just jumps right back into the ramp, and that stayed with me for my whole life. So like I went back and tried it. I ended up actually like doing it later, but that whole like if you're not falling, you're not learning is always like stuck in my life. And like when I was an angry teenager, I used to put my skates on and jump off roofs for fun. And I know for me that was like a really big deal when I first started doing live performances, and I was like anxious and I was afraid because it's a new thing, and you know, being a vulnerable human in front of other humans is scary. Even if you're really comfortable with a mode of expression, you know, putting parts of yourself out there is always hard. And I remember telling myself, like, bro, you used to be totally okay with jumping off this like 10, 12 foot tall roof and just like, well, whatever happens, happens. Like, why is being in front of a crowd of people like they're not going to hurt you as much as this drop off a roof will? Like you can do this, you know, and it's something that I always kind of draw back on. First time I was ever facilitating anything was in a skate park. I was teaching lessons. So that was my
Wow.
first experience, like in doing youth work and working with folks on the spectrum, like folks with cognitive differences, was at the skate park and teaching
I
folks
did
how to
not know
rollerblade.
that.
Yeah, bro, I was at the skate park so much that they just offered me a job. Yeah, I was there so much that they were just like, "Do you want to like teach some lessons?" So that was
Bruh.
my first like entry point into a lot of this, and then from there, like it was my first like being in the skate park and working in the skate park, and practically like if I wasn't at school, I was at the skate park. And so this is,
Wow.
you know, early 2000s, and so like from there you got all the skate videos on, so all the music. And at this point,
Yeah.
like things are VHS becoming DVDs, so everything's like hyper regionalized, right? So you'd have the skaters from the Midwest rocking to like underground rap from the Midwest, and so you hear things like Micronauts or Atmosphere or any
Wow.
of like the Rhyme Sayers, any of that end. You had your like super indie heads in New York with your like Def Jux records and what was Anticon Collective. You had like Gel Dose One. You had all of this infiltrating in there. The Cali folks. You got Hieroglyphics crew, Living Legends, like things like filtering over from like the Good Life Cafe scene. All in these like
this is deep
like
history.
inline skate, and also to be fair, skateboard videos. First time I ever heard the Roots was in a 411 skateboard video that just happened to be on in the skate park. I go, 100% Dundee, and I was like, what is this? I need some more of that. So I was already into hip hop, but it was more like the mainstream end of it. Like I don't know if my mom is still watching. This would be funny if she is. So like the Slim Shady LP came out, and I you know, like any kid in that era, like, oh, I need that. Hi, my name is, like, ooh, I need that record. I need that record. I talked my mom into letting me buy it. My mom goes to the record store, because there's still record stores, sits there, listens to the whole thing with this look on her face.
Screen the record. Woo.
It's like, no. But I guess she felt bad, because then I came back and brought up, what was it, DMX's, and then there was X, the record with like Party Up and like all of those like radio records on there. And she let me buy the explicit version. I'm pretty sure it's only because there was a song called The Prayer on the back of it. And she saw it on the track list and like, Mom, thanks, that record changed my life. Oh, you remember? Yeah. By the same criteria that you X'd out the Slim Shady LP, you probably should have X'd that one out too. But it was a very, very impactful moment in my creative and artistic development. Was sneaking that one in, because like the record, like, do you know DMX? The radio edit versions of his songs they bang, and it sounds like sometimes radio edits are better than the non-edited versions, to be honest. But he's talking about all kinds of crazy stuff in his records. Different kind of crazy than like the Slim Shady LP, you know, but I think still pretty out there as far as like I imagine, I'm not a parent, but like a parent trying to screen things for younger minds and younger ears. So that also, all of this kind of intersected and created this like storm, where like I'd get upset and like I'd go, you know, skating was my first love, is my outlet, you know, and I couldn't always go skate, you know, so I'd start writing, and it just happened to rhyme, and you know, that's just kind of how it started. And then there were a few like high school moments where like a little lunchroom battle moment where I ended up like, you know, taking somebody out in like a quick 8 bars, like, and then like I didn't identify it then though, you know what I mean? Like it was just like, oh, it's a thing that happened. And there were a couple other moments of either like at the skate park, I had a manager who like was a rhymer and would like kind of kick little freestyles and stuff, and like
so there was this interplay between your passions.
Completely. And you want to hear the funny coincidental thing? This said manager always went by B.
Wow.
Yeah. My first rollerblade video I ever bought was Wasteland, so out of Cali, and it blew my mind. I found it in the last like year or so. I still have the VHS, and on the side it says BS Films. Like I forget what the dude who made it, his initials were BS. I don't know. One of these. The further back I go, the more I wonder how much a choice I had in what I've been doing, and how much the universe just laid it out from the beginning.
Wow.
And man. just kind of couldn't see it. But yeah, the blading's been a part of all of it.
This
definitely
is huge,
approaches.
Bro. I'm learning, and that's why I knew we needed to do this on the live, man. That's gonna kind of segue me into the next point that I want to tap into, right? We use the term over here at the CE crew as artivism, right? And we use activism as activating your organism to its highest potential. And your stories with blading are so parallel to that, right? And I love how you said you drove these lessons, even in facilitation, in the work you do, into your artistic practice, right? And I love how I just kept seeing the image of the figure 8, how all these things feed each other in an infinite loop, if you will, which is the foundation, right? Making a run on the skates, or making a run on the verse, or through your music, right?
Stomping the landing, you know.
Yeah, this is another
the verse.
This is it. I want to take us back to where we met at Sin Sin at Freestyle
Yes.
Mondays, particularly the idea of improv, which is deeply rooted in the jazz connection. We heard how you found those records. We saw Mom Dukes as just being a mom and screening the records. DMX got through.
You
The
see her in the
MIP came
chat? You see her
through.
in the chat? I
The
missed that
battles
one.
happened in the lunchroom, right? The battles
Yeah.
happened in the lunchroom. The manager's dropping a little bit of bars. I'm painting the picture here. The music's coming in the skate videos. But what made BS make that hard left or that hard right into like, you know what? I'm gonna come to New York. I'm gonna do this. Little do many people know you got trained as a formal educator in
Hmm.
NYU on the like on one of the highest degrees of being an educator, and you worked within that system. How was it just making that journey to New York, pursuing your musical career and this synonymous education world that now really makes up a big part of your whole creative foundation?
Yo, bad, bro. Bad. Thank you for asking. Yo, so I came for school first and foremost. So I
Mm-hmm.
came here at 18. Like I moved around up and down the East Coast. Like I was born in New York, made my way down to Alabama, made my way outside of Philly, like Westchester, PA, like Philly suburb, middle school, high school, and then came up here for school. And or like here, I feel like hip hop found me.
Mm.
I remember for a long time I felt like an imposter, like I snuck aboard the train, you know. It took a little while for the people in my life who I didn't meet through artistic things to see me in that light and accept me in that light. Um, and so like I just came into the city again. I'd be mad and I'd write stuff. I had a few friends who were just like, all right, you know what, every time we hang out, we should freestyle. Then maybe by the end of 4 years, we'll be like decent at
Mm.
freestyling. And I was the only person who kind of kept with it. You know, I had my little like notebook of shame, which was young me was just like not realizing that writing in a notebook because you can't handle your feelings is a healthy coping mechanism. I just felt like, you know, like, oh no, my feelings are too much for me to handle. I gotta go in the book. And so I didn't realize that this was something that I could do
Wow.
and have fun doing. You know what I mean? It was a cathartic outlet. It was a place for me to just release emotions that I couldn't hold on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's
So yeah, so then I met, you know, there was a whole NYU crew at the time of
yep.
MCs, rappers, Niall Emerson,
Yeah, shout out to
Chaz
Nile.
Kangas, Genesis B,
Yeah,
and
that was an era.
ill spoken Corey James Gray was already killing it at Sin Sin with Freestyle Mondays.
Yeah.
Chaz Kangas at the time had that crazy, unbeatable crown. Also an NYU person. So
Yeah.
I met a lot of these
Legendary
folks.
journalist now and everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I met a lot of these folks just from being around NYU, and then it was Niall and a graph writer who went by Shorty CC. Shout out to Ashley Chandran. We're just like, yo, I think you'd like this thing called Sin Sin. And I was like,
Ooh.
what? What's it? You know, what's this thing, Sin Sin? And I had my cousin's ID, so I'm sneaking into the bar so I could rap. And at the time, it was weekly with like the battle at the top of the month every month,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's kind of how I got started, coming in there kicking some terrible freestyles, like shook, you know,
Mm.
because I didn't even see myself in that way, you know. But like for me, it was building to the battle, and it was the battle, and this opportunity to take all these feelings that I couldn't hold, and that I had yet
Wow.
to find a healthy expression for outside of blading. Blading, yeah, I could get mad and I could do a stunt, right? I could jump off a roof. Oh, okay, I feel better. Like I hadn't figured that out outside of blading yet. So this was like a huge part of my own personal growth and self-development and my own just being a better version of myself. Um, and like, bros, that Sin connected me to so many beautiful souls like yourself. Like I remember my first battle in there. That was the day BS was born. A lot of people ask me, BS, how'd you come up with that name? And I like to give different answers every now and then. But
Yeah.
the very first one is like I got this again back to blading. I got this
Yeah.
little black sheep with rollerblades tattooed on my arm.
Wow.
He's kind of a gray sheep now. He needs a little touch up.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be black sheep, you know. It's something I
Wow.
identified with, like
BS, the black
right,
sheep. Woo.
right. So then Chaz Kangas, I'll never forget, goes, "Oh yeah, black sheep, engine number 9. Are you sure you don't want to take somebody else's name while you're at it? You want to be Wu-Tang Raekwon Ghostface? You want to be that?" because you could do that, I guess. And I was just like, ugh! And I'm about to get called up. And so I'm like, oh no, how do I do this? And in my head, I was like, oh, BS is just 2 letters. Oh, Black Sheep BS, my last name, Bradshaw. I was like,
Oh,
oh, and I was like, most
yeah.
people are just gonna think it's bullshit. So I was just always ready with the flip. And this is around the same
Wow.
time where
You
Jin,
already had the double entendres and the
right.
multiple
Well,
meanings.
well, Jin was doing the thing at 106 in Park Freestyle Fridays where he was crushing it, and people were just coming in and making fun of him for being Asian, which one is so fucked and did not age well, and 2, he knew it was coming, so he was just ready with the flip, and so it was the same thing. Oh, BS, like bullshit. There was like a couple years where folks thought they were clever trying to pull that. And I was just ready with the flip, and realized that 2 letters is like it's just an identity that's liquid. It can grow and change with me as I grow and
Ah, so you
change
picked
with
the evolutionary
me.
name.
Yep, 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 yep. So that's kind of
Wow,
how it all kind
BS.
of tied together. And then fast forward, meet the homie Gray Matter, and they get plugged into like Hip Hop Subway
Yeah.
series, Def Clone Bug Out Sessions in Union Square Park, the precursor to legendary ciphers.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
and then I was like, oh shit, you can do this and have fun. I don't need to be mad. I don't need to be upset. I don't need to be in a situation where I have all these feelings that I don't know what to do with. I can just be happy and joyous. I can be clever. I can be silly. I can just like have fun and be in a place of joy with this as well. I don't need to be feeling my trauma, you know, or feel like my cup or my meter is about to blow. You know what I'm saying? Like for it to be available to me. And that was a huge learning moment. And then that only further branched out, you know, as you and I connected on the Artivist kind of tip.
Yeah.
And like, because I'm gonna say this on the live. He's gonna deny it, but Y is one of the greatest friend tours I have ever had. I would not be a fraction of the facilitator that I am
Ooh.
without this dude right here.
Oh, thank you, brother.
1000%. And yeah, I try and tell him. See, y'all can hear me say it. I try and tell him, and he'll be like, "No, you did it. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, I did do, and that doing was guided. There was guidance in that doing, and I don't know where I'd be without it. So like,
Thank you, my brother. Well, you are a highly skilled individual.
Roses.
Thank you for that. I'm learning to just accept it. This is part of what these are about. But because you are very talented, I don't even want to say gifted, because sometimes gifts gives the energy of like this was just given to you. As you said with the blading analogy, there was a lot of stumbles in getting back up. I want you to answer this next question given in the chat in rhyme. I'm going to ask you to do it because it's you. You're capable of this.
Let's go.
And I just want people, because we're speaking about it, but part of what I want to do in Artivism is bring art into this. I'm throwing a little licks in the back. I'm doing what I can do. But our question is from Red Hood 86. He said, yo, BS, what's your favorite thing about performing and teaching people with disabilities about hip hop and rap? And how do you think that's impacted you? I want you to take that away in a verse and whatever you do. I'm taking off the filter for this because we got to get it unfiltered. But there you go. What is your favorite thing about performing and teaching people with disabilities in the hip hop and rap context? And how did it impact you? I need you to bust that down for us.
Oh, all right, bet. All right, there's lots of things I could be saying. But Red Hood wants me to hit y'all with my favorite. So for me, it's being the person that says yes when someone else is told no, and no again. Like maybe they say a thing a lot of times. Well, that's a great thing to include inside my rhymes. People make them feel like what they say is wrong. I like to put that shit all right up in a song. So that way at the end of the day when it's beat, we have something that we can just put on repeat and celebrate the people standing on their feet and connect the odds where all the ends meet. That's gotta be my favorite thing. Oh yes, I'm saying. Shout out to Red Hood and that goodness you're displaying. I really appreciate you, my dude. Ooh, you got me singing. Oh yeah, you got me singing out here. Let's go.
Yes.
But I think that's my favorite thing though is being somebody who can tell people yes. Like I've been in a lot of situations working with folks of different physical differences or different cognitive differences, and like you see folks who work in those settings, like someone's just, you know, they're being themselves, but Someone's telling them, no, don't do this. No, don't say that. No. And I like being the person who gets to come in and say, yes, you know,
Ooh.
yes, do that. Do it again. What was that? That was cool. Do it again. And maybe that becomes a sample for a Loop Station song. Like one time, Heirloom Beats, shout out to Heirloom Beats, and I were in an adult daycare center, in a CUSAC facility in Queens. And there was a participant who just really liked to say motorcycle baby. And they do it with sack, motorcycle baby, and like with sauce. And so we came up with a song called Motorcycle Baby. And we had like the aides in the room calling percentages off the hit record before we left this space. And it was this song that was entirely inspired by this individual who feels good saying motorcycle baby, like many times over. So my favorite thing is getting to be somebody who says yes. And it's allowed me to be more mindful of how I engage with the world and allow the world to engage with me. It has helped clarify intention. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? How am I doing it? And it's definitely made my heart bigger. It's made me a kinder, better person, and has definitely broadened the lens with which I see the world and how I'm able to use my art and how the art affects folks in a positive way.
Wow. That's a great segue to the next question in the chat by DJ Rickman, also OG Citizen fam. He's going to be DJing the mixer coming up on the Saturday. So Rickman asks, BS, what inspired you to use your platform to start giving back to the general community? As we know, a lot of people, they might have come to New York to get their school on, right? They might have dabbled in and did one semester of volunteer work. You know, but you've legit made this part of your career, and you continue to do so, and you continue to grow, just like you said with the skating. You're like, you keep evolving with it. What is that inspires you to keep giving in this way? Like you said, you started the company with Heirloom Beats. You've already been doing things with everyone from Lin-Manuel and back, and the Freestyle Love Supreme team, and also with Freestyle Fitness. So community is integral to me in your work. That's why we needed you on here. But what are some things that really spark that in you, man, for the artists that may not or not understand why some folks take this route?
For sure, for sure. I mean, for me, it's a combination of things, you know. I think it allows me to be the adult that I wish I had to other people. I think that the power, like, the greatest gift that hip hop has given me was a space to be accepted in and to be my full self when it felt like there wasn't another space or other people who would shine that light back at me and accept me as I was trying to figure it out. And like, just really in these, you know, mental health is really important to me. And like I said, rollerblading was the first love, hip hop was the second. I hurt myself. I couldn't skate for a while. Most of my 20s, I couldn't skate. And hip hop became my main outlet. And it's one of the reasons I'm still on this planet. So who would I be if I didn't try to give that back to other people, or just this tool, this outlet, the community from it? Like hip hop has given me so much. I have chosen family. I have lifelong friends. Like, I have opportunities, I have a career, I'm in a place where I can create opportunities for other people. Like,
yeah,
this gave me everything. So giving, you know, each one, reach one, teach one, pay it forward. You gotta pay it forward.
Come on, that's the standards.
It's part of my fabric. It's a part of who I am, and it's taken different forms over the course of the journey. And I gotta give Rickman a shout out, because he played an integral part in me expanding what that meant. You know what I'm saying? Around the time Donald Trump was first elected, I found myself complaining because I'm not a fan. You know what I mean? I suspect most of our audiences are aligned with that. But I felt like I'm just complaining, and like, it's one thing to voice your opinion, right? But like, what was I actually doing? Like, right? I'm speaking, I'm telling, but what am I showing? What am I showing? And so DJ Rickman and I collaborated on a few events. We call it High Vibe XP, where we had visual artists, performers all gather together, throw a show where 100% of the proceeds went to charity. So we threw some fundraisers for Planned Parenthood. We threw fundraisers for Southern Poverty Law Center. So shout out to DJ Rickman on that. It became a part of Prop's game show. We would take a percentage of every single ticket sold, and we'd give it to the charity of the season, which we ended up on Southern Poverty Law Center, very, very aligned. I'm blanking on a few of the other like legal organizations, but like it felt important to me and to the team that I was surrounding myself with that we contribute, right? We don't just speak, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we can talk and we can voice our opinions. That's important, and it can't stop there. So
action based.
Yeah, this affected a lot of change, like a lot of positive change. And then from there led to me later pursuing like formal classroom teacher work, which I did for a little bit. And then after that, working with a series of nonprofits in a whole bunch of, I mean, everywhere from like older folks to high schoolers to middle, elementary, you know, beatboxing with first graders in a South Bronx charter school, no one else in the room but me and 25, 30 kids unamplified holding it down. Whether it's loop station production, songwriting, freestyling, all of it. I've worked with incarcerated youth in the system, folks with differences, again, cognitive or physical. It's been a really broad scope of the folks I've been able to reach, folks in other countries, whether virtually or in person. A few trips ago to Berlin, I had the privilege of working with some Ukrainian refugees in Berlin and doing a vocabulary within workshop where we all share our own stories from our own lives and create opportunities for growth and social and emotional learning. That really, really big themes in everything that I do. I'm told there are therapeutic components to what I do. I think that's just, I'm gonna pull a Y. That's not me. That's just the art. But
yeah, no, it's there, brother. You are a gem to us, and I love it because I knew it'd open up. We got the legendary Guaza Bottle from the Taino tribe up in here. Guaza's got an amazing question that is a great segue from what you just said.
Let's go.
He said, if you could explore the landscape of your lived experience, what is the water source that you are drawing from, and how have you nourished this sense of reciprocity that translates into what he says as the third dimensional collaboration? So how is that exploration of inner space going into a well of a source that you are drawing to do these external things? Because I think a big running thread that I'm finding in what you're saying was there was an internal need. There was a voice in you that was needing to be heard. Originally through blading and that, it was there, but it needed something else, right? What's that source you draw from, and how does it manifest right here in the physical, man? That's a great question, Waz. Thank you for that.
Wow. Well, I think I'm either, what is it, the wrong kind of fixed or the right kind of broken. Like, I can't help it. I'd be doing this if it wasn't my career. If it, like, I need to do this just to maintain, you know what I'm saying? Just for myself. And as a, you know, a profitable prophet of our generation, Snoop Dogg once said, it's more fun if the homies come too. So, like, it's always been fun to do it in community, and it's always been something that that's given back to me. So what is that source? It is something deep, often comes out in times of turbulence, you know, and I've had to cultivate the more like joyous, fun side over time. So I'm trying, I want to honor this question. This is a very, very good question. Guaza, I appreciate you, dude. I hope I get to see you again soon. I think just finding that, being able to share that joy with others, like being able to help keep someone else's torch lit with my torch also helps my torch stay lit. It also helps my torch stay lit. And so, you know, it's not about I'm good, I'm not good, this is good, this is not good. It's not about that. It's about being our authentic selves and learning, you know, boosting that awareness. Maybe we make some friends, like maybe we release some emotions. Like there's so much to this. I guess it's maybe this ephemeral, ethereal quality. Um, and for me, I've especially been able to tap into it when it comes to freestyle and improv. That's been an exceptional area for this. Not the only one, but an exceptional one. And I think there is something like ephemeral and spiritual about improvisation. It exists only in that
In the
moment.
moment.
So the people you get to share it with, it becomes something extra special in that. So, uh, you know, I was
I
told
love
I had
it.
a grandfather who used to write poems. I had another grandfather who grabbed a guitar and say things that rhymed in Spanish. Like there is a certain little DNA component, but like I've always been the insider's outsider, you know, the
The
accepted
original black
weirdo.
sheep, the
Yeah, the
BS.
accepted weirdo, and the other weirdos like me weren't being accepted. And so I've
Woo!
just been trying to shine a light for people like me who don't fit into one category or the other category, but have just been forever in between. You know what I mean? I'm a mixed race baby. You know what I'm saying? Like there's, I was the
Yeah.
rollerblader who the skateboarders gave an okay to because I worked at the skate park and I could still do a kickflip, so I could just tell them to shove it. Like there's a skateboard joke in
Hey!
there. I don't know if I
A
got
little
any,
insider for the
um,
wordsmith is at work. Yeah.
you know. So Guaza, I hope that this is. You have to let me know in the chat. I hope that this was a satisfying and complete answer to your question. You know, I surrender and I find myself still doing this. My ego wants me to do it, and my surrender wants me to do it too.
He
So
responds with a Han Han Katu, which is that Taino native. There it is. Rickman's got the 180 shove it. BS, man. Thank you again. I want to go into one of our original things. Let me switch up the filter on this one. Bring it down on this, right? The burnout is real, man.
yes,
Both you and I have been serial freelancers. I can't even remember ever hearing you. So you're working for the man or this, whether it was through other means of delecting herbal bulls on the streets or for coming out to whatever before it was legal and in every bodega. We're past the statute of limitations on things. But
I plead the
you
fifth.
didn't fit in the box, man. You didn't conform, and even though you have the accreditation from one of the country's most prestigious institutions to go a six-figure salary route. You know, you were well on that way from coming to New York at the tender age of 18, meeting the people. You could have went that route that's carved for a lot of folk, but you didn't, man.
I
You didn't.
tried.
You took another, you went in there and you got out. So I want you to kind of take
Yes,
there. I want you to give that little background of just you're an out the box dude, and you and me just always connected because I was like, no, this dude, he gets it. When I talk to homies, nothing against them, who got more traditional routes, or they're there, and they're like, yeah, why? They think I'm doing this Instagram thing. They don't see that I'm making email blasts, promos, and sending them out and putting work in. They're like, oh, he does this cool thing. But you walk that path, man. What led you to be out the box thinker? And I'm going to segue that into the burnout. But it isn't easy, man. And to do this 15, 10 plus, you know, and stay true on the path. And never once have I heard you, at least to me, say, yo, why? I think I'm going to hang this up and go in. And, you know, we've gotten up there now. So a lot of the homies that we started with, some of the names you mentioned, they're not here,
they're not
man. They're
here.
not doing this.
Right.
So break
Yeah.
that down, and I'm going to lead that into a little bit about maintaining that because I
Hell
know it
yeah.
isn't easy. We make our own schedules. We got to figure this out, right?
Right.
We don't get to get somebody to tell us, hey, you're going to be in here 9 and clock out at 8. You
Right.
know what I mean? We got to make that. But what made you that type of person? I know not everybody's that way, but I would love
Yeah.
for you to give folks some insight on
Well,
that.
I've never been a fan of authority. I've never been a fan of blind authority, and um, oh, bro, I've tried to do the regular route. You know, I tried to go on the highway of life with the other people on the highway, and it it made it made me want to die. I don't mean to be like dramatic or like a downer, but it it was not fulfilling. It was not satisfying. Like I tried to do the office job thing, and 6 months in, I just figure out the job. I get bored, and just it just stopped speaking to my soul. And as a result, like I noticed that I was more working to pretend I was working than actually working while working.
Whew,
and
that's a
and
bar right there.
and bro, like I'm not gonna hold you. Like it just took me to some really like dark places. Like there were certain moments where I realized that like I felt like I was so out of control in my life that my way of trying to regain control was to surrender control, and a lot of that meant making some not strong decisions at the time that did not affect me, my health physically or mentally in good spaces. And something really flipped, like because I first started the volunteer end of this a long time ago. My first volunteer experience in hip hop was teaching homeless kids how to rhyme in a shelter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's an aspect of this. I used to run around and somebody be like, "I think I want to rap." I'd be like, "I have a recording studio at home. Come over." Like this used to be like a whole
Yeah.
part of the cipher, man. And I'd still be doing my like regular job, and this just felt I'd be out until 4 in the morning trying to hit an open mic in the Bronx, living in Gowanus, and then having to be at work in Manhattan by 8:30, 9
Whew.
a.m. And just like I wrote a song
Real.
about this, man. It's, I don't know, I had some struggles with my family at the time in terms of feeling seen and feeling supported. I had, there's a moment, and this is about the time when like everything was crashing. And so even the finance bros were starting to like worry about their money. And I was exhausted. I'd slept 2 hours. I was just at this open mic in the Bronx. I got this large coffee in my hand. I'm like on the edge of the curb, and it's one of those Manhattan curbs that has the metal on it.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
little
yeah.
slipperier. It's a little slipperier, and I'm holding this coffee. It spills on me. I'm just like, "Ah!" And I look, and there's this truck coming. And I had this thought where I was like, all I have to do is lean forward another 3 or 4 inches, and I never have to walk into that building right there again. And that's when I knew I needed to do something different, and it would still be a
Mm.
little while before this became the full time uh, career
Yeah,
journey
yeah.
path. I
It was
pit
the
stopped
steps.
into formal teaching. From there, I was like, I was doing grad school teaching, the things that the school was telling me to do versus what the grad school was telling me to do versus what the program I was in was telling me to do were all different. And in my heart of hearts, I wasn't sure that I was doing right by the kids that I was there to support and guide. And so for me, I felt like I was selling information that I didn't believe in ways I did not
Woo.
believe in selling and sharing that information. And so I left it. And from there was able to apply all of these things from my journey in these different facilitation educational spaces with so many different populations and different kinds of people, and then eventually form Freestyle Fitness, where it's the space where I could take all these different parts
Mm-hmm.
of my journey
Mm-hmm.
and put them all together and have a space where it made sense to me. And it wasn't just like, this is what the school wants you to do and this is what the organization wants as a result of what the school wants you to do, or it'd be great for the
Mm.
organization if you did this and this, so we could collect this kind of data and do this. The school wants this sort of program. Where it was just like, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no, I want to be like very explicit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Alignment is important. I just needed a space where I could align myself and my journey within myself. And it was crucial in me being able to really level up the amount of good and the amount of value that I've been able to bring in other spaces since, as a result of this. I'm a neurodivergent wordsmith. I'm an ADHD brain. I get sad in the winters sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like I take medication. And these are expanding and evolving conversations. And one thing that is tied through all of these different experiences is that, and the ability to be able to share that explicitly, conversationally, like we are now, or through the art itself. Because it's one
Wow.
thing to be in a space with a young person who feels frustrated, they don't know how to express it. They can tell that you're frustrated for a different reason. Maybe I walked in with it. And me being able to write candidly about my frustration allows that other person permission. Not that they need my permission, but sometimes people feel like they need permission, right?
Yeah.
It
Mm.
opens that door. It builds an on. Let's remove permission. It builds an on ramp into expressing something similar. Oh, you're upset too. This is how you're doing it. Okay, maybe I can try that as well. You know what I mean? So like all of that comes through. It's something I've been exploring lately as I'm performing more sets again, been releasing music again. Actually, I got a song came out today called Boss.
Yeah.
Which is I'm gonna pull this right into the burnout. Watch, hold on, watch this. So you know, I'm gonna ask you directly since we're talking on here, and folks in the chat, feel free to weigh in. So we do this freelance artivist thing, right? Like we in here is the Wild West. We
Yeah.
make up our own rules, right? Like we got our own schedules, we got this, you know what I'm saying? And why? What does it feel like when it's going great? How do you feel when it's going like really well?
Man, it always feels like it's never gonna end, and then it
Yeah.
ends, right? I get this kind of, I guess it's a dopamine hit when I've been like you doing some research on my brain. Like, you know how it is. We go into the show and it's like the crowd is singing the words, everything's on point, and then like you get that high, right? And then like you wake up the next day and the high goes away like any dopamine hit, right? And you're like, oh, now I'm back to this. The rent comes in or this. And I was like,
Right.
man, I was just like, honestly, it felt sometimes like I was chasing something external, you know, but I know that it was possible, but I knew there had to be something bigger than that, you know, which is why I do this kind of work too,
Mm-hmm.
right? To make sure that we get beyond just those moments where we're these larger than life figures, and sometimes it's said that like we're reacted to like we don't have issues. Like once again, people will see what I do with this and then they'll think, oh, they don't understand, look, in between the meetings this had to get done, right?
Right.
And then like I was like, oh shit, I'm walking back from the park workout, I need to make this live, let me just tag BS and bust a little freestyle in my live to promote this so that I'm looking out for my dude, because it takes more than that, right? So
Right.
I just think
Right.
it's a bigger than
Yes.
me thing that underlines
Right. You
it,
can't
you
just
know?
show up and be dope. That's
It's not
baseline.
enough, man.
That's
That's the
baseline. That's
baseline.
baseline. But back to what you were saying about like the high highs and the low
Yeah.
lows, right? Like for me, when I'm on that high, I feel like a boss. And in many ways I am. I set my own hours, I set my own pay.
Yeah.
I am. And in that valley, it's easy to forget. So this song I just dropped is called Boss, and it's a reminder to myself and to anyone listening to show up for yourself as a boss in your own life. Whether that means you're an artist, an entrepreneur, if you will. Regardless of what your journey is, what your career, what your path is, it's a reminder during those valleys and those lows to like show up as a boss. There's a line in there. Uh, Doubt is a trapdoor to make failure suck less. So if you fail to fail, have you sucked enough to touch success? Note to self, ride the storm and feel lost. Some days you pay to play when you the fucking boss. Like, and it's, you know, it's just like I hope folks listening to it, you know, will feel that, because it's easy to fall into overwhelm. It's easy to fall into burnout, especially when you're pursuing your passions. Maybe you have a 9 to 5 and you're really doing what you love when you're not at your 9 to 5. Like, it's really, you only have so much energy and you only have so much focus to fuel with that energy per day. So it's kind of a call to arms in that regard. Like the cover art is me right after a concussion last February.
Yeah,
You
I
can
saw
literally see you can see my girlfriend Ray, the back of her head where the BS is. Sorry, Ray, I should have asked for your permission before I did that, but we did that, so hopefully that's okay. It's the back of her head, you know. And yeah, bro, but just how many different things happen in the journey where like I have felt like I've had to climb back up. Like, oh, I felt like, right, I fell down and now I need to climb back up. And this song was just a reminder. It goes, you know, even the chorus, I've been lost and forgot that I'm a boss, set my own fucking hours, got a business, not a job. I've been lost and forgot that I'm a boss, set my own fucking pay, got a business, not a job. You know, shout out to Isaac Sawyer on that beat, another artist.
Yo, run up the numbers on that, y'all. It's in BS's profile. Make sure if y'all ain't tapped into him, get it in.
Yeah.
BS, I want to take that. I want to dig it further because I'm seeing the thread. You're giving me the thread of life, which is creating the image. This is connected to self-care, man. From the beginning, you were taking care of yourself by rollerblading, which is physical activity, by the cathartic release of the battle rapping and the game shows at Sin Sin, by staying those extra hours in the volunteer situations, by serving your community. You were helping yourself, you know, and I know young BS or lowercase BS is proud of capital BS, you know? So like, what's some of the routines, man? You know, I want to get nuts and bolts with it because For me, it's colder outside. I'm not a winter person, but I'm like, I'm going to go out there and hit these outdoor workouts, man. I'm going to go out there and do this. You know, you said that
same,
pivotal moment
bro.
where you're like, nah, you were sipping that coffee and you're like, I could end this right here, or I could change this. And in a way, you did end it. You ended the route that you were on, put a period on that sucker, and then you turned another way, right? But how are you able to maintain? What are some of the things you do these days, you know, for the self-care? What are any just nuts and bolts things that we could toss to folks? Because it's very real, especially for people who choose to live the life that we do. Because it's so hard. Like you said, I make my own hours. I run my own business. I'm a boss, but right. How do you find that balance to not let the cup overflow, you know? So would love for any insight that you got that you can share with us, man.
For sure, for sure. And it's hard. And I say this with I want to preface this with like these are all things that I'm working on and I'm growing with and growing toward. I am not the master of this, at least not yet. But things that I have found really, 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 really helpful. I try to wake up, meditate,
Yeah.
15 minutes, just boom. I try to journal and do that before I look at my phone.
Yes.
So
Analog.
try to keep myself centered like that. Try to do at least a little bit of movement over every day. Even if it's just all I have time for is a 10-minute 10-minute walk around the block, any of that, you know what I mean?
Physical
Like
activity. Yeah.
ideally if I could hit the gym or something else, but that doesn't get, it doesn't happen every day. If I could go skate, oh my God, even better. But again, can't do that every day. But
You
the
got a
journaling,
checklist right there.
the
Yeah.
meditation, like really like using my art to check in with myself. Sometimes the rhyme knows before I know. Shout out to
Woo!
Homeboy Sandman for that one. Yeah, me and Homeboy Sandman had a conversation about this a long, long, long time ago. Sometimes the rhyme knows before I know. And really being open to reflecting on what I create. Sometimes it's my subconscious voice, like rising, and it's important to pay attention to that. One of the most helpful tips I did get though when I posted this, like, because I was in a valley November, December, I felt like it was really hard for me to like really do the things that I wanted to do, and I struggled with the tasks that are even harder for me to do. So I'm an ADHD brain, and when it comes to peopling, creative, all of that, I'm super stoked. It's fulfilling. I love it. Yes. When it comes time to like the admin, like scheduling email
Yeah.
drafts, posts, marketing, things like that, I those things don't come as easily to me. So one of the most helpful pieces of advice I got from this, like, yo, I feel capable again. I'm going to do all of the things. Wait, I know when I try to do all of the things at once, I will be effective for a certain amount of time. And then there will be a very concrete amount of time where I will be exponentially less effective. So one of the most helpful bits of advice I got was from a friend of mine, Elise, shout out to Ellie Sage, was telling me that like as freelancers, like our 3 hours worth of work is not the same as a 9 to 5 or 3 hours worth of work. There were little breaks, or that like the way they can spread their tasks out is different than us because we are probably hyper focused on that task. So our 3 hours on that task is more likely a very intense 3 hours on that task instead of this thing that you're doing for somebody else. So you're there to get this just got to get done by the end of the day. And so she was saying that like she does like a 3.5 hour like time clock, and I'm gonna start adopting this, like creating set hours for myself and doing this like time clock where if she takes a break, she pauses the time, but this way she has a concentrated 3.5 hours. And I gotta double check the message that she sent me if she does it twice a day or once a day, but like we'll have this concentrated 3.5 hours that she moves through. And then she also hit me with this jewel today. We were able to catch up just a tiny bit, where she was like, oh, one thing I wanted to add is that when you feel like you're in a lull business wise, because these things do ebb and flow.
Yeah, they do.
It does ebb
That's
and flow.
real. You got to be ready for the
She
lows.
was saying that for the lows, she'd find herself grinding and working so much harder to try to make up for it. But for her, it would only increase burnout. So her advice for something like that was don't even chase it. Just lean into the creative. Lean into the creative. Don't force this other part that isn't happening. Lean into the creative so that this other part comes back around stronger. And I thought that was incredible advice. You know what I'm saying? Woo! Like, leave your house, go see your friends, talk to people, get some exercise.
Yes.
Like, if I'm upset, when's the last time I ate? Ask yourself yourself. When's the
These
last time I ate
literal
food?
cliche things that are so day to day. Did I drink enough water? Right? Right on the beat, right? And we overthink those. We're like, no, it couldn't be that I didn't eat for 6 hours, or I haven't drank a glass of water in 7. But then literally when you disrupt the mind and allow yourself, that's so crucial, my guy. Thank you so much, my dude. Wow, like this is blazing by so fast. I can't believe we're almost at that hour mark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but you know what, bro? This is what it happens when you're in that ebb and flow. Once again, man, I love what you do, and I wanted to play a little, once again, game with you because it's you, and you're capable of doing these kind of things with me. And a big part of what it is I did 2 seasons of podcasting, right? And then I was just like on the gram, on wherever, hey, check out this, and it was, and I was like, wait a minute. This whole time we haven't even dropped below 10 people. We get more views on this. And I just said, I'm going to then put this on YouTube. I'm going to make it easier. I'm going to just make my life easier. And you resonated with so deeply with what you said. BS, I want to throw you a word by word.
Let's
And I
go.
want you to throw me a word a little bit. We're going to play a little bit. It could be something that was said in this convo. It could be something on your mind. But I want you to take it. And it doesn't have to be in rhyme. If it chooses to be in rhyme, it can be. But I would like you to just kind of like power riff off of it, right?
All right.
I'm one of those guys, I got that similar brain to you, that neurodivergence. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to allow people to see what happens with people who have different levels of understanding, right? So I'm going to start off with some words. I'm going to just throw one your way and just feel it out. And then, you're going to end off and throw me something back. And, we'll start out with a few. We'll see how it goes.
I
But
bet.
I want to start you out. I'm going to even ask the question in rhyme because, we always on time. I want you to tell me about how trauma affects the mind.
Ooh. How does trauma not affect the mind? You don't even need a magnifying glass or a microscope. There's evidence you can find. It's in people's behaviors, the things they minimize or the things that they make bigger, the parts of themselves that come out whenever they get triggered. I mean, trauma can look like financials. Trauma can look like hurt. Trauma can look like post-capital or late-stage capitalism being inundated in work. Trauma can look like feeling unfulfilled. Trauma can feel like having no one there with you while you try to build. I mean, trauma often comes and finds us at our station. It runs deeper than any individual. It goes generation by generation by generation by generation. So like, did some bad shit happen to me? Sure. It is what it is. I can't control alt. But at the end of the day, this is some generational shit. So even what my parents did isn't my parents' fault. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than them. It's bigger than the us. This is something happening in our zeitgeist. That's that collective consciousness, and that's something that you can trust. There's so much healing that needs to be done, and everyone plays their part. So there's a heart on my sleeve and a heart in every single way that I art. Yeah. So all of y'all, thank you very much. I hope that you enjoyed what you've heard from me. It's been ill to have people all over the U.S. and oh shit, Salva from Germany. Yo, yeah. Shout out to my parents. That's my pops and my mama. And shout out to everybody there growing and navigating through their trauma.
Wow, man. That's so beautiful, my brother. And I want people to know this is why I consider you an artivist. Some of us, we're not here and doing this for a lot of the reasons that people might think. We are not reduced to just entertainers. And the best way I could show it is in this example. There was such deep thoughts. I want to reflect on some of the things you mentioned. The cathartic release of being an artist. And I think the more that we understand that art is a tool and not a side thing, it's a way, like you said, I have to do this. This is not just me like, hey, I'm gonna da da da. It's like I got something to say. I have something to express, which is the creative expressions moniker. And we take this thing that's in us, somehow bring this out into the world. Some of us are not gonna just take this and be like, oh, let me just play this top 40. Let me just do this. Let me act like I have a smile on my face at every wedding and just sing the wedding songs that you want. this is also why I respect people heavily like you who create even your song Boss. Go check that out, right? It's because it's related to something in your experience. And it's something that we do because we don't have the ability sometimes to talk it out. Like you said, sometimes it comes first in the music, in the rhyme, in the tone. And this all shows up in our body. BS,
Mm-hmm.
man, this was incredible. I want to leave some floor for you to just give any final thoughts, any last words, shout anything you got. You know, I'm gonna ask you to send me a little description that we can put on the YouTube for this when it goes up on there. Your links will be in there, whether to the song or that, because you know we gotta amplify each other. And instead of us waiting to get on other platforms, I was like, we're just gonna be the platform and we're gonna do this,
I
man.
appreciate
So I
you for
appreciate you
this.
carving out time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this, to be so humble, to be like, why I'm willing to do that, for your vulnerability, which started in the DM when me and you were just having a convo about burnout. And I said, bro, we need to share this convo with community because I knew what was going to be said is universal, omniversal, omnipresent. So, man, I want to pass the mic to you one last time, man, to really just give back to anything that's on your mind and soul. It could be shout outs, could be whatever you want. We already know, go hit that man up, hit the links that he's got up in his profile, send that dude a DM, run up the boss tune. It's out now. We're part of a 28 bars challenge, day 5 or whatnot. Shout out to everybody in there. But I
Yeah.
asked those same people, how can we do something? And BS, take the mic away. Whatever's on your heart and spirit, bring us home, my
Let's
guy.
go.
Thank you again for doing this.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you and I appreciate the space. Thank you to everybody who's watching now, everybody who tapped in while they could. Deeply appreciate you. Shout out to my moms. Thanks for letting me get that DMX record. Haha. Check out Boss I just released today. Other song I released, Working Hard. These are all like mental health oriented offerings. Somebody once told me that when you put yourself into your art, you know, warts and all, one, it can be very vulnerable and very scary, but two, you have the opportunity to heal people who are like you. So, you know, I don't expect everything to be for everybody, but I do hope that I do hope the messages reach those who could benefit from hearing them. You know, freestyle fitness. Actually, we're starting a new cycle of freestyle fitness 4-week groups this week.
Let's go.
So we got Monday night group. We still got room for 1 or 2 more. And Monday night group pops off tonight, 8:30 to 10 New York time. We got an 8:30 to 10 New York time Thursday group with room for 1 more. I do drop-ins every Friday, 7 to 8:30 p.m. This is all on Zoom. For my friends in the EU or the UK, we have our EU UK groups back Wednesday and Thursday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. New York time, which becomes 7:30 to 9 UK, 8:30 to 10 EU. I hope I did that math right. I'm more of a words person than a numbers person.
5 hours ahead, UK.
5 than 6. Yep. So if you want to come and get down, it's Freestyle Fitness is a place where we espouse life and language tools through the vehicle of freestyle rap. It's a one-of-a-kind workout for your brain, a cipher with the lesson plan, and a place for adults to be their authentic selves, play, and celebrate progress, because we believe that practice makes progress. Perfection isn't real. It's boring if it was, but progress is something that we can get down with and celebrate no matter what it looks like. For any individual, we can celebrate progress. From giant leap to baby step, we can hold that down and celebrate it. So I appreciate y'all taking the time. It's the 28 days bars of challenge, so I'm going to be posting a whole bunch of footage of me freestyling and kicking writtens and songs along with Y and a whole bunch of other MCs. So follow along for that. It's going to be daily posting on all of this.
Yeah.
More freestyle fitness stuff coming up. We got some punchline workshops in the mix for late February, early March with the homie Lou Armistead.
Hit that man up.
We got a whole bunch going on. Really excited about it. So trustbs.com, trustbs@gmail.com, or feel free to go ahead and jump in that DM and let's talk about rhymes. Let's nerd out. If you want to, it's a group of like beautiful, authentic, shining, unique lights to go ahead and shine light back with you and at you. Come check out Freestyle Fitness. And if you dig any of the songs, please share them with somebody who you think might dig them as well. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you. And you, Y.
BS.
You. Even though your name is Y, I appreciate you.
You, that soldier boy, you, that multi-platinum, you. Well, look, guys, you guys heard it from the man himself. Check out what he's got. If you guys want to be in tune with anything, just hit the links in there. Tap in with us. We're here. We do this. I was about to delete social media. I said it's just a platform. And I said, I'm going to just bring my authentic self the same way me and BS have had these conversations in the studio, in the living room, in the workshops. We've been around and we're still here doing it. Just know that everything is possible. Activate your organism to its highest potential, y'all. Tap in if you want to be featured, but make sure you're doing something that's beyond yourself, because this is about taking this work and using it to overflow your cup, like BS said. Not to drain yourself, but to know that if you fulfill yourself and your needs, it will naturally seep into your career, seep into your relationships. And that is from a place of joy and abundance. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. I want to give a big shout out to the folks that are in the chat. Guazabara, House Nova, aka Liz. Mama BS is in the building. I see you. DJ Rickman is here. Red Hood, thank you for the amazing. Joel is in the building. Zuby Blue from Bristol is in the building. Lex Rush right around the block in Queens. Ray on Skates, our bladers are here. And everyone who took a moment to pass through, remember, anything that is truth will lead you deeper to connect with yourself. Don't believe anything that leads you to find any power outside of yourself. You are created by the Creator to create. And we are here. Tap in with BS, tap in with me, and we're out of here, y'all. Peace and love. Artivist Talk 3. Boom. Salute.
Peace and love. Thank you, Y.
Big love. We out of here, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day.